Good morning. Welcome back into Wake Up America. I'm Rob Finnerty with Allison Maloney. The war in Ukraine has reached its 50th day after Russia first invaded the Eastern European country without provocation on February the 24th, and Russia is showing no signs of stopping.
Yeah, for more on this, let's welcome in Texas Congressman and member of the House Armed Services Committee and Air Force veteran, Pat Fallon. Congressman, welcome back. Thank you for joining us.
Good to see you, Congressman.
Good morning, Allison. Rob, how are you?
First question's a simple one. Here we are, day number 50. Did you think things were going to get this bad 50 days in?
You know, I don't think really, Rob, anybody could have foreseen the incredible resistance and courage that the Ukrainians have put up with the Russians, and really, quite frankly, the ineptitude of the Russian military. So in that sense, it's been a pleasant surprise. The utter destruction that the Russian forces are leaving in their wake is heartbreaking. But it is heartwarming to see allies like Poland and Romania and our friends in Moldova open up their hearts and their homes to the Ukrainian refugees. It's really a story of, just love and humanity, quite frankly.
Yeah, absolutely. Congressman, you tweeted out Putin is deterring this administration, and the consequences lead to the pain and suffering that the world is seeing. American hard power is what the Ukrainians need to defend their freedom. So what do you think NATO needs to do in the next 50 days to make sure this ends?
Well, Allison, what we need to do is, arm the Ukrainians to the teeth. I signed on to a letter back in November begging, beseeching, and pleading the Biden administration to send more asymmetrical aid then, and they inexplicably dragged their feet for 6 weeks. I mean, now they're coming to the fight late, unfortunately, really led by a bipartisan coalition on the Hill. And, we just saw the administration announce yesterday an $800 million aid package, which does include things the Ukrainians need and wanted and been begging for. I believe it's about 300 Switchblade drones, which is they're incredible power. It's a great munition because it can loiter and then it can really attack with precision into the heart of the enemy. That's something they needed. I've been calling for artillery pieces. We are finally sending them some 155 howitzers, which is great, 40,000 artillery shells. But also we need to send them more asymmetrical aid as well. More javelins, which we are, but harpoons and stingers, S-300s to shoot down Russian jets. If we give the Ukrainians the tools, I think the outcome will surprise the world.
So let me ask you about that. You brought up that aid package that was just announced by the White House. Again, primarily defensive weapons. Weeks ago, we were talking about those MiG-29s. We've been talking about these Soviet-era tanks that we could give the Ukrainian army. Here we are 50 days in. Do we need to, and I mean NATO and the United States, need to reassess how we are supplying the Ukrainian army so this thing doesn't spin out of control? You brought up the refugees in Moldova. We heard reporting yesterday that might be the next target for Vladimir Putin because it's not a NATO country.
Yeah, no, Rob, great point. In fact, we met with when I went over to Moldova and Romania and Poland, and we were in the Ukraine for about 30 minutes just on the frontier with Romania. We talked and met with the prime ministers of Romania and Moldova. And at the end of the meeting, the prime minister of Moldova, she's a fluent English speaker, she looked at us and said, please help us remain a member of the free world. I mean, that's what's at stake here, not just for the 44 million Ukrainians, but all nearly 3 million Moldovans as well.
Congressman, I want to pivot now to the border because Title 42 is set to expire. We already see the crisis, and it's affecting not only states like Texas, but states across the country. I know that the first set of buses arrived in Washington, D.C. What are your thoughts about Title 42, and how do we stop this border crisis and get things under control?
Well, my thoughts on Title 42, Allison, are that it's an incredibly effective tool to, maintain some semblance of sanity on our southern border. We've seen 55% of the expulsions in February were due to Title 42. And if you take that tool away from Customs and Border Patrol, we've already had a crisis that turned into a catastrophe. Right. I don't know the next superlative or adjective you use beyond catastrophe, because that's what we're looking at. We talked to the Customs and Border Patrol agents last week. Clearly, Joe Biden has made every state in this country a border state, but they were saying that their resources are stretched to the maximum capacity when there's 3,500 illegal border crossings in a day.
Yeah.
At 5,000, then they leave large stretches of the border unmanned. On March 29th, we had 9,000 illegals cross the border. On an average right now, recently, it's about 8,000 a day. It's insane.
It could reach 18,000 by the time we get to May 23rd and beyond after Title 42, a public health measure put in place because of COVID. We just saw the administration and the CDC extend wearing masks on planes. We are all American citizens living with COVID restrictions right now. It should be the same at the southern border. And if you don't want to use COVID as an excuse, use the fentanyl crisis. That is also a public health crisis. I want to get your reaction to what the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, said yesterday. If Joe Biden doesn't want to come to the border, basically, we'll bring the border to you. Take a listen.
The Biden administration and a lot of leaders in Congress have no idea about the chaos they have caused by their open border policies. And they refuse to come down and see firsthand and talk to the people who are really most adversely affected. And if they're not going to come to the border, I'm going to take the border to them in Washington, D.C. They experienced early this morning exactly what communities in Texas experience every single day.
Okay, so Jen Psaki said from the briefing room yesterday she doesn't like stunts and the administration doesn't appreciate the stunt. And I'm thinking about, well, what about those Texas Democrats that flew to Washington to protest the voting rights bill? How about that for a stunt? What do you make of that? And does this continue? Right now, 2 buses have arrived in the nation's capital from your home state of Texas.
Rob, Jen Psaki is a stunt on a daily basis, number one.
Right.
So I think we should send buses to Nancy Pelosi's mansion in San Francisco and Joe Biden's beach house in Delaware and Chuck Schumer's palace up in New York State. And hell, send them to Boston and Martha's Vineyard and all the other blue states that don't understand the crisis, or probably, I don't know if they understand it or don't care. But what about, there is a crisis in this country when you have, as Rob, you just alluded to, 100,000 opioid overdose deaths last year.
That's unbelievable. Yeah, Congressman, we'd send them to Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, to Joe Biden's beach house, but there's a wall around it. So they won't be able to get in.
Yeah.
They won't be able to get into that. Congressman Pat Fallon.
Walls work.
Walls work. Apparently, they work at beach houses, I guess. Maybe not at the southern border. Congressman, great to see you. That's Texas Congressman Pat Fallon joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, y'all.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.